Know this about rest time. I've been a clinical psychologist for 8 years, and this is what I know. Today I want to talk to you about rest time. Taking time for rest is important for mental health, or it's one of the 4 basics for a stable mind, as I sometimes say. In today's video, I want to talk about what rest time is, so you, like my clients, know. Rest time is setting off some time. It can be an hour, some hours or less, or in the form of a break, where you practice resting your mind. To a lot of my clients, I find that I have to explain that resting is not sleeping. When I ask them if they're having time in their schedule when they rest, they'll usually talk about napping or sleeping in. This is not rest. Resting is something we do when we are awake, and when we stop practicing it, it can feel like a very conscious thing to do. Resting is an important part of a schedule that takes mental health into account. Resting is a natural behavior or need that we're born with. Most will know that humans need rest. Think about how you would schedule the day for a toddler. You would initiate a good mix of sleep time, eating time, active time, and resting time. Resting time doesn't here mean putting the toddler to bed, but instead offering options of more calm or quiet play activities, such as Play-Doh, playing with their toys, coloring, playing them some music, reading them a book, cozying up and talking with them, or watching their favorite show with them. You'll often see that kids seek out this rest activity on their own, that they switch into rest time as a natural part of their day. Getting enough sleep, food, rest, and activity is essential for a stable mind. Getting enough rest is essential. Moving away from this balance of getting enough can have many reasons. Stress, low self-worth, or a busy life can be examples of this. When we skip on one or more of the basics, we'll start to become in imbalance mentally and find that everything becomes more difficult to manage. I know that stress and low self-worth are big issues in the modern world, and teaching my clients about how to regain their balance of their mind is not an uncommon job for me. One task is to help them re-enter resting into their schedule. So, if resting is not sleeping, then what is it? Practicing rest time is usually in the form of gentle activities, where what we do is not goal-directed or with a specific task in mind. It's just doing an activity because it feels nice and because it rests out our mind. These days, I work mostly with younger adults, and I find that rest time is often the component that's missing in their day. As my work as a psychologist consists of restoring mental health, I mostly meet people when they're struggling. It's then my task to find out why they're struggling and help them towards a more balanced mind so they can function normally again and do what their lives require. One of the things that I look for is if rest time is missing. I look at this as I know that it's often the case that the daily schedule for many students and young professionals end up consisting more of sleep, eat, and work. It can of course also be that this is not the case, and then I'll continue my analysis and look into some of the other parameters for mental health here under sleep, eating enough, and doing enough. You can know more about those in my other videos. But if rest time is missing from the schedule, it will have an effect on the person's mental health. I'll often see that they're showing signs of being stressed out, that they're emotionally imbalanced, and have problems with cognitive functions such as planning, decision-making, and often low motivation. If we go back to the toddler example, this would likely not come as a surprise for us. How would a toddler react if we scheduled a day with only sleep, eating time, and active and demanding activities? Would they act out and start becoming a bit unstable? Probably yes. As rest time is so essential for a balanced mind, it has to be a part of our routine for us to be able to function well. Knowing this can be helpful in two ways. If we're in a period with a lot of demanding work and business, where time for rest gets pushed out of our calendar, then we'll likely feel signs of imbalance. Sometimes it's not possible to change this, or we choose to just push through without adding back in rest time. Here we'll feel that we'll start to struggle with our mental well-being, and this is normal. Knowing that our mental struggles are likely caused by that we're omitting rest time can be helpful, as we then know why we're struggling. If I've had a couple of days where I've been constantly working on something, then I'll often notice that I start to feel a bit in imbalance. When I notice this, I don't panic, because I know why it's happening. I know it's because I didn't have enough rest time over the last couple of days, and that this is why my mind is acting up. I remind myself of this. I might make a plan to remedy the situation by adding some rest time back into my schedule, and then I'll just stop thinking further about it. I don't need to analyze why I feel how I feel any further, as I know the likely cause. This is not what I see my clients who are struggling do. They do what most do. When they experience being not okay, they'll often tend to question and sometimes feel a bit scared about it. They'll start with analyzing what's going on. Oh no, why am I feeling like this? This might send them into a spiral of worrying and stressing and make them feel even worse mentally. This is where the knowledge about rest time being one of our 4 basic needs and the natural consequence it has when we omit it is useful. In these situations, knowing yourself and your needs is helpful. Being able to tell yourself, hey, it's just because I'm missing out on enough rest time these days, can help us feel less bad when we are not okay. If we know what's up, then we often feel less scared and frustrated, which is often helpful in not making it worse. I often find it useful to teach the skills of gently reminding ourselves that, hey, it's just because I missed rest time and that it's normal to not feel okay when that happens. Knowing about rest time being essential for mental health is also helpful when we want to restore our imbalanced mind, because we know what's missing and what to do. When being stressed out or not okay, if possible, it makes sense to add in the missing rest to our schedule. Where rest time for toddlers come more natural for them, it's often a bit different for young adults, I've found. This is likely because toddlers have yet to be spoiled by the modern culture's favorization of efficiency and productivity. Young toddlers have not yet learned that they have to hurry and not waste time. Missing rest time for adults is often due to busy schedule and sometimes being so focused on making it that they forget about rest time. This will often cause their mental health to suffer. When I educate about rest time, I often learn in turn that this activity can be difficult or unclear for my clients. I therefore make efforts into describing the concept of rest time for my client and give it as homework. A good description of rest time is that you with intention set off some time where you intend to practice rest. Resting can be many things. You don't have to sit or lie down. The point of rest time doesn't so much lie in the activity. It's more about the intention and what this does to our minds. My recommendation to my clients is that they schedule rest time and make themselves very conscious about this activity. That they don't just take a walk, but that they set off the time and remind themselves that now it's rest time, and that rest time means that we're not allowed to be efficient or productive. And that in essence, what we're doing doesn't matter. It's a block of time where what we do don't matter. So the walk or sitting at home is the activity we do while filling out the time that is ours, and sitting or walking has no purpose other than just passing time. We don't have to have fun or do something cool. We're not intending on doing something we can report to others about. We're just spending some time, likely time that we've scheduled into our day, to just do whatever. I prefer to think of rest time as consciously giving our mind a break. The best rest time is when it's uninterrupted. That can sometimes take some practice if we're used to spending our time being active or productive, and often plan and analyze in our minds. I think this was all we had time for. What was your takeaway from today's video? As always, feel free to take away the information you can use, if any, and leave the rest. Hopefully you found that today's topic made sense and I didn't waste your time. Please subscribe or like this video so my channel can grow. Take care and see you for the next one.